his office at the Claire Group. Bryce was looking at his assistant with a malicious expression. He had just received proof that last night he was set up, probably by his business rivals. He was drugged and sent to a different room than the one he had booked for himself. The girl had been brought in the same room earlier that night, and she too seemed drugged. Under the influence, Bryce and that girl had lost their senses and couldn't suppress their desires.
So, what do you do now?
Cheryl, I don't understand.
Natalie was getting one shock after another. How did Cheryl get this video? Why was she doing this to her?
How did you?
At the party last night, Cheryl had secretly spiked Natalie's drink. When the drugs kicked in, she pretended to help Natalie to her room, but actually took her to someone else's room, telling her that Nick was waiting for her with a surprise. So later, under the influence, Natalie didn't suspect a thing and believed the man in the room was Nick.
But why?
Because I want to marry Nick.
Natalie's world had fallen apart. Her stepsister was in love with her fiancé, and she was ready to go to any lengths to have him. Natalie was so angry that she couldn't utter a single word. Her whole body was trembling with fury. She rushed forward hysterically and wrapped her hands around Cheryl's neck. Hearing the commotion, her father rushed out angrily.
It was her! She set me up! How dare you accuse my daughter of anything? You're just as wild as your mother was.
Unable to bear the pain any longer, she was on the verge of tears.
From now on, she's no longer my daughter.
What? Dad, what?
Natalie's father was easily influenced by her stepmother. He was an egoistic man, and he was deeply embarrassed when Nick canceled the wedding. He told Natalie to pick up her stuff and leave the country immediately. Natalie thought of her mother and her childhood, but no matter how hard she wished, she could never return to that time. Cheryl continued to pretend that she was innocent and gloated as she watched Natalie get kicked out of her house in a sorry state. Bryce told his assistant to go and check the identity of the woman who was in the room, but the assistant couldn't find her because at the same time, Natalie was being sent away. Natalie didn't even stay a night before she was packed off and sent out of the country. She had been exiled without knowing when she could return. She had lost everything in one night. From now on, she was on her own and alone in this world. But one question kept nagging her. Who was the man she had slept with the night before?